Attention is one of the most powerful forces we possess. Wherever we direct it, energy flows, shaping our thoughts, emotions, and ultimately our destiny. Wayne Dyer's timeless wisdom reminds us that our lives are not defined by circumstances, but by where we choose to focus our mind and heart. In a world filled with distractions, his life-changing message teaches us how to harness the power of attention to create peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Today, I will share with you key lessons inspired by Wayne Dyer's profound philosophy, guiding us to align our energy with our highest intentions. Attention is the most valuable resource we have as human beings, yet it is often overlooked, scattered, or misused. Every single moment of our lives is guided by where we place our attention. It is the silent architect of our destiny, the unseen force that determines whether we live in frustration or in fulfillment, whether we grow or remain stagnant, whether we find peace or stay trapped in chaos. Wayne Dyer emphasized that attention is not just a mental act but a form of energy, and wherever we choose to focus it, energy follows. This means that the very direction of our life is built upon the choices we make in the present moment about what deserves our attention and what does not. Imagine walking through your day as if carrying a spotlight. That spotlight can illuminate the darkness, uncover opportunities, and reveal beauty in places you never noticed before. But it can also get stuck on shadows, magnify problems, and intensify negativity if that is where you choose to shine it. The spotlight itself is neutral, but the placement of it makes all the difference. This is why attention is the gateway to transformation, because by mastering where we focus, we unlock the hidden reserves of energy that can reshape our lives in unimaginable ways. When we wake up in the morning, our first thoughts begin shaping the quality of our day. If our attention goes immediately towards stress, unfinished tasks, or self-doubt, we carry that energy forward into every interaction and decision. On the other hand, if our attention is directed toward gratitude, possibility, and the belief that today holds value, we begin to energize ourselves with motivation and clarity. The same outer circumstances may exist, but the difference lies in the inner attention we give them. A problem that drains us when focused on negatively can actually become a stepping stone when approached with purposeful attention. What changes is not the external situation, but the energy we create by focusing our attention differently. This is why Wayne Dyer often reminded us that we have the choice to either see the scarcity or the abundance, the fear or the love, the obstacles or the opportunities, depending on how we direct our focus. Attention acts like a magnet, pulling energy toward whatever it touches. If we place our attention on anger, fear, or resentment, the energy around us multiplies in that direction. Our thoughts become heavier, our body responds with tension, and our emotions amplify the negativity we are dwelling on. But if we place our attention on peace, love, and possibility, the same magnet draws energy toward lightness, inspiration, and growth. The quality of our energy changes immediately, and in turn, our actions follow a different trajectory. What we must recognize is that attention is not passive. It is a creative force. The simple act of noticing something, giving it mental and emotional energy, literally begins to transform not only our perception, but also the outcome we create in the external world. That is why it is said that the mind is a garden and our attention is the water. If we water weeds, they grow wild and take over. If we water flowers, they bloom and spread beauty. Many people underestimate the power of attention because it is intangible, yet it governs every tangible result in their lives. Think of someone who constantly focuses on limitations, telling themselves, "I can't do this, it's too hard. People don't believe in me." With attention locked on those thoughts, their energy shrinks, their motivation weakens, and they prove themselves right by not taking action. Now imagine someone in the exact same situation choosing instead to focus their attention on, "I will find a way, I can learn from this, I will grow stronger." Their energy rises, their creativity awakens, and they attract opportunities that align with that belief. The external world did not change. The internal direction of attention did, and with it came transformation. This is why so many successful leaders, athletes, creators, and visionaries emphasize focus as the foundation of achievement. They understand that attention is the fuel for all progress, and when controlled with discipline, it can unlock extraordinary potential. Even in the realm of relationships, attention determines the quality of connection. When we give our full attention to someone, we transmit energy that says, "You matter, you are valued, I see you." That energy builds trust, strengthens bonds, and nurtures love. But when our attention is scattered, half listening, half distracted by devices or our own thoughts, we send the opposite message, draining the relationship of warmth and connection. The same applies to our relationship with ourselves. If our attention is constantly focused on self-criticism, comparison, and lack, we diminish our own sense of worth and rob ourselves of energy. But when we place attention on our strengths, our growth, and our unique path, we feel empowered and more alive. It is not arrogance, but self-respect to give your attention to your own progress rather than your shortcomings. The link between attention and transformation becomes even clearer when we consider how energy interacts with health and well-being. Studies in psychology and neuroscience reveal that what we focus on influences our body's chemistry, our stress levels, and even our immune system. Dwelling on fear or anxiety directs energy into stress hormones, creating fatigue and illness over time. But focusing on healing, calmness, and possibility directs energy toward balance and resilience. Many people who experience breakthroughs in healing begin by shifting their attention from what is wrong toward what can improve. The body follows the energy of attention. Transformation begins not in the physical, but in the unseen choices of focus that the mind makes every moment. Attention also carries a spiritual dimension that Dr. Wayne Dyer often spoke about. He reminded us that by focusing our attention inward, on silence, on presence, on the divine energy that flows through all of us, we reconnect with a deeper source of power. In meditation or moments of stillness, when we withdraw attention from the noise of the external world, we discover an inner energy that feels expansive, infinite, and guiding. This inner connection can transform not only how we feel, but also how we perceive life. Instead of being tossed around by every circumstance, we realize that we have a steady anchor within us, and attention is the bridge to accessing it. That is why practices like mindfulness, meditation, or even conscious breathing are powerful tools. They reclaim our attention from distractions and direct it toward the present moment, where transformation is always possible. In the modern world, where distractions are endless and attention is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, mastering our focus has become more critical than ever. Technology, media, and noise compete for our attention daily, often feeding us with fear, comparison, and negativity. If we are not intentional, our energy becomes drained, leaving us exhausted without clarity. But when we deliberately choose to guide our attention toward learning instead of scrolling aimlessly, toward gratitude instead of complaints, toward solutions instead of blame, we reclaim our energy and direct it toward building something meaningful. Every great achievement, every personal transformation begins with that conscious choice, deciding where to place your attention in each moment. Think of the times in your life when you felt the most alive, creative, or inspired. Chances are your attention was fully engaged in that moment. You were not split between past regrets and future worries, but immersed in the present, giving your energy completely to the task or experience at hand. That is the state where transformation happens, where hidden talents emerge, and where possibilities open up. This is also why distraction is the greatest thief of transformation. When our attention is fragmented, our energy becomes diluted, and nothing receives enough focus to change. Transformation requires the depth of attention, the ability to channel energy consistently in one direction until momentum builds. Attention is also a mirror that reveals who we are becoming. If we want to know what kind of life we are creating, we only need to ask, where is my attention most of the time? If it is on fear, anger, and problems, then that is the energy we are feeding into our reality. If it is on growth, love, and gratitude, then that is the energy shaping our destiny. Transformation is not a sudden miracle, but the cumulative effect of thousands of moments where we chose to direct our attention in empowering ways. Over time, those choices compound into a new state of being, a new level of energy, and a new life. This is the essence of Wayne Dyer's message, that the key to transformation lies not outside us, but within our ability to master our attention. And through it, our energy life is not only about what happens to us, but about what we give our focus to. There is an invisible law that governs our experience, one that Dr. Wayne Dyer often emphasized: what you focus on expands. This truth may sound simple, yet it carries within it the power to change everything about how we live. Each thought, each belief, each point of attention is like planting a seed in the soil of our minds. Whatever seed we nurture with focus and repetition begins to grow, and the more we direct our attention to it, the more it expands until it becomes a significant part of our reality. The challenge is that many people unknowingly water the wrong seeds by focusing on problems, fears, and limitations, and then wonder why their lives feel heavy and restricted. Yet the same principle, when applied with awareness, can transform a life by expanding joy, abundance, peace, and love simply by choosing to focus on those qualities. Think about how often our minds replay negative experiences, mistakes, or fears about the future. Every time we focus on those thoughts, we are feeding them energy. We relive the pain, we amplify the fear, and we give more power to the very thing we do not want. It is like carrying around a magnifying glass and deciding to point it at weeds instead of flowers. The weeds then appear larger, stronger, and more overwhelming, not because they inherently are, but because our focus has expanded them. On the other hand, when we choose to focus on gratitude, even for small things, that gratitude grows. The more we look for blessings, the more we notice them. The more we pay attention to possibilities, the more opportunities appear. This is not magic. It is the natural result of directing our inner energy in a certain direction until it manifests in our outer experience. Our brains are wired in such a way that they strengthen what we repeat. Neuroscience shows that focus builds neural pathways, which means that the thoughts and beliefs we dwell on literally rewire our brain. If we constantly focus on stress, the brain becomes better at producing stress responses. If we focus on optimism, the brain strengthens its ability to see solutions and stay calm. Over time, what we focus on becomes a habit, and that habit expands into the reality we experience every day. Dyer taught that we are not victims of our circumstances, but creators of our reality. And the first step in creation is deciding what deserves our focus. By choosing to focus on empowerment instead of defeat, love instead of fear, and growth instead of stagnation, we invite those qualities to expand and shape our lives. Imagine a person who wakes up every day thinking about how hard life is, how unfair circumstances are, how little progress they make. That person is training their mind to see obstacles everywhere, and soon every situation appears like a barrier. They will expand frustration because frustration is what they are feeding with focus. Contrast that with someone who wakes up and thinks about one thing they are grateful for, one step they can take, one possibility they can explore. Their focus creates momentum, their energy expands in a positive direction, and they begin to notice opportunities that others overlook. Both people live in the same world, yet their experiences are completely different because what they focus on expands. The principle applies in every area of life. In relationships, when we focus on the flaws of another person, those flaws expand in our awareness until we can hardly see anything else. The relationship becomes strained not necessarily because the person changed, but because our focus magnified their shortcomings. But when we shift our focus toward their strengths, their kindness, the good memories, those qualities expand in our awareness, and the relationship feels lighter, more loving, and more connected. The same truth applies to our self-perception. If we constantly focus on our weaknesses and failures, those expand and dominate our identity. But if we choose to focus on our growth, our efforts, our resilience, then those expand and we begin to see ourselves as capable and worthy. Even financial and professional growth follows this law. People who constantly focus on lack, on how little they have, on how impossible success feels, often find themselves stuck in scarcity because their energy and attention expand limitation. But those who focus on creativity, on opportunities, on adding value, expand their vision and open doors that lead to abundance. This does not mean ignoring reality, but choosing to focus on solutions rather than problems. Every great innovator, entrepreneur, or leader in history was someone who expanded possibilities by focusing on what could be done instead of what could not. Their focus allowed them to see beyond limitations, and what they saw grew into reality. What you focus on also expands emotionally. If you spend your day focusing on complaints, frustrations, and judgments, you will feel drained because those emotions expand. But if you train yourself to focus on beauty, kindness, and gratitude, you will feel uplifted because those emotions expand. Our emotional state is less about what happens to us and more about what we choose to magnify. One person may walk through the same city and notice nothing but traffic, noise, and stress, while another walks through the same streets and notices art, laughter, and possibilities. Each one experiences expansion of what they focus on, and each one lives in a different emotional reality created by their focus. Even challenges and pain can transform through this principle. Life will always present struggles, but what expands from them depends on where we place our attention. If we only focus on the suffering, we expand despair. But if we focus on the lessons, the growth, and the strength being built within us, we expand resilience. Many people who have gone through great hardship often emerge with deep wisdom and compassion because they chose to focus on meaning rather than misery. The event was the same, but the expansion was determined by focus. This is why some people break under challenges, while others rise stronger. Their focus dictated what expanded from the experience. The mind is always at work creating expansion, whether we guide it intentionally or not. When we focus on fear, fear expands. When we focus on faith, faith expands. When we focus on anger, anger expands. When we focus on forgiveness, forgiveness expands. It is not about denying reality, but about choosing which part of reality we want to energize and grow. Focus acts as a filter, shaping what we notice and experience. And with repetition, it expands until it becomes the dominant theme of our life. This is why awareness is so important. If we live unconsciously, our focus may get hijacked by negativity, distractions, or external noise, and we will find our life expanding in directions we do not want. But with conscious choice, we can reclaim our focus and deliberately expand the qualities and experiences that align with our highest self. Children are a powerful example of this principle. When a child receives encouragement and attention for their efforts, that focus expands their confidence and curiosity. But when a child constantly receives focus only on their mistakes, that focus expands their doubt and insecurity. The same principle continues into adulthood. We all expand what is reflected back to us and what we dwell on within ourselves. This means we have both the responsibility and the power to not only shape our own lives with focus, but to influence others positively by focusing on their strengths and potential. Spiritually, the principle of expansion through focus is deeply profound. When we focus on love, we feel more connected to others and to life itself, and that love expands. When we focus on separation, judgment, or hostility, those expand and distance us from the divine energy within. Many spiritual traditions emphasize prayer, meditation, or visualization not because the external world changes instantly, but because focus changes us. By focusing on peace, compassion, or faith, we expand those qualities within, and they radiate outward, creating transformation not only in ourselves, but in the world around us. The question we must ask ourselves daily is simple. What am I focusing on right now, and is it what I want to expand? If the answer is no, we have the power to shift. It may not feel easy at first, because the mind has habits, but with practice, new focus becomes natural, and new expansion follows. It begins with small moments, choosing to notice what is good instead of dwelling on what is lacking, choosing to give energy to what uplifts instead of what drains. Over time, those choices compound, and the expansion becomes visible in our mood, our relationships, our opportunities, and our overall life direction. The beauty of this principle is that it works both ways. Just as focusing on negativity expands it, focusing on positivity expands it too. This means that no matter where we are right now, we can begin creating a shift by changing our focus. Even if circumstances feel heavy, there is always something small to focus on that can create expansion in a new direction. A single thought of gratitude, a single act of kindness, a single vision of possibility can begin the process. And as focus deepens, expansion accelerates until it shapes an entirely new reality. Every action, every choice, every result in life begins with intention. Intention is the seed that precedes creation, and energy is the force that nourishes that seed until it grows into reality. Doctorate. Wayne Dyer often reminded us that energy follows intention, which means that whatever we set as our deepest aim, whether consciously or unconsciously, our energy begins to flow in that direction. Intention is like the compass that determines the path of our energy. Without intention, energy scatters in different directions, but with clear intention, energy becomes concentrated, powerful, and transformative. It is not simply about wishing for something, but about aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with a chosen direction so that our energy serves a greater purpose. To understand this truth fully, we must realize that energy does not respond to confusion or hesitation. It responds to clarity of intention. From the moment we wake up, intention begins shaping our day. If our intention is vague or left unformed, our energy gets easily absorbed by distractions, worries, or external demands. But when we wake up with a conscious intention, to be calm, to be productive, to be kind, to grow, our energy naturally aligns with that choice, and our day begins to reflect it. For example, if someone sets the intention to be grateful, their energy tunes itself to noticing blessings. They carry a lighter presence, and people respond to that presence. On the other hand, if someone sets the unconscious intention to dwell on stress, their energy aligns with tension, and everything they experience feels heavier. Intention is the silent force behind every experience, and whether we recognize it or not, it is guiding the flow of energy that shapes our lives. When we think of great achievements, we see the power of intention at work. An artist does not create a masterpiece by accident, but by holding the clear intention of expressing beauty or truth, and energy flows into that vision until it becomes a painting, a song, or a sculpture. An athlete does not reach excellence without the intention to train, to discipline the body, and to keep going beyond limits, and energy follows that drive to build strength and skill. Leaders who transform societies do so because they carry powerful intentions: justice, freedom, compassion, progress, and their energy draws people, resources, and opportunities toward the fulfillment of those intentions. Intention acts like a magnet that organizes energy, and the clearer and stronger the intention, the more powerful the flow of energy that follows. Even in everyday life, we can see how energy follows intention. Imagine walking into a room with the intention to criticize versus walking into the same room with the intention to encourage. The energy in your words, tone, and presence will shift dramatically. Others will feel the difference, and the outcome of interactions will reflect that difference. The intention behind our actions colors the energy we bring, and people often respond not only to what we say or do, but to the energy behind it. This is why two people can say the same words, but one inspires and uplifts, while the other leaves others cold. The difference is not in the words, but in the intention. Energy always follows what is truly meant beneath the surface. Intention also affects how we perceive challenges. If our intention is to grow, then obstacles become opportunities for strength, and our energy flows toward finding solutions. But if our intention is to avoid discomfort, then obstacles become threats, and our energy flows toward fear and resistance. The same external situation produces different outcomes depending on the intention guiding our energy. This is why clarity of intention is so important. Without it, we may unconsciously set intentions that weaken us, intending to be safe rather than bold, intending to be right rather than understanding, intending to survive rather than thrive, and our energy dutifully follows, shaping a smaller life than we are capable of living. But when we deliberately set empowering intentions, our energy flows into expansion, courage, and growth, creating transformation not only within ourselves but also around us. Wayne Dyer often emphasized that intention is not merely personal willpower, but a deeper connection to the universal energy that flows through all of life. When we align our personal intention with a higher purpose, love, service, creativity, contribution, we tap into an energy greater than ourselves. This is why people who live with meaningful intentions often seem to radiate more power and peace. Their energy is not scattered because it is flowing in harmony with something larger. For example, a person whose intention is to heal others through medicine or art often finds that their energy carries resilience and inspiration even when faced with difficulty, because their intention sustains them. A person whose intention is only rooted in self-interest may find their energy depleted quickly because it lacks alignment with deeper values. Energy follows intention, but the quality of that energy depends on the quality of the intention we set. Consider also how intention shapes relationships. If the intention is to understand, energy flows into listening and compassion. If the intention is to dominate, energy flows into control and conflict. If the intention is to love, energy flows into patience, kindness, and presence. Relationships thrive when intentions are pure and falter when intentions are selfish or unclear. Many times, conflicts are not truly about words or actions, but about misaligned intentions. When we clarify our intention, whether it is to build trust, to support, or to resolve, we direct our energy toward creating that outcome. The beauty of intention is that it is always within our power to choose, no matter what the circumstances are. On a personal level, intention also shapes our identity. The intentions we hold consistently become the foundation of who we are. If we set the intention daily to learn, we become lifelong learners. If we set the intention to serve, we become people of compassion. If we set the intention to grow stronger, we become resilient. Intention is not just about what we do, it is about who we become through the continuous flow of energy that follows it. Our life story is, in essence, the unfolding of our repeated intentions. Intention also has a profound effect on health and well-being. When someone sets the intention to heal, to take care of their body, to nurture balance, energy follows that direction, guiding choices toward better food, movement, rest, and self-care. The body responds to the energy of intention, and healing becomes more possible. On the other hand, when the intention is unconsciously set toward neglect, stress, or self-punishment, energy follows there as well, leading to fatigue, illness, or imbalance. This is why people who recover from great health challenges often speak about the power of setting an intention to live, to thrive, to fight. The body and mind align with that focus, and energy flows towards survival and renewal. Intention can also be thought of as the blueprint of creation. Before a building is constructed, an architect sets an intention through a design. Before a journey begins, a traveler sets an intention through a destination. Without intention, energy remains scattered like raw materials without a plan. But with intention, energy organizes into form and action. In the same way, our lives unfold based on the blueprints we carry in our minds and hearts. If those blueprints are unclear, we build lives by accident. But if those blueprints are intentional, we build lives with meaning. Energy does not decide for us, it simply follows the plans we set with intention. One of the most empowering realizations is that intention does not require circumstances to change before it becomes powerful. Intention is a choice made in the present moment. Someone who is struggling financially can set the intention to focus on creating value, and energy will begin flowing toward creativity and opportunities. Someone who feels lonely can set the intention to become more open, loving, and connected, and energy will begin flowing into actions and encounters that create relationships. Intention is the starting point, and energy responds instantly to it. This is why people who carry strong, clear intentions often seem to experience synchronicity, coincidences that support their goals. It is not mere luck, but the natural law of energy aligning with the direction of their inner compass. Every day, we are setting intentions whether we realize it or not. When we complain, we are setting an intention to focus on what is wrong, and energy flows there. When we blame, we are setting an intention to avoid responsibility, and energy flows there. But when we choose to be conscious and deliberate, we can set intentions that uplift and empower. The more consistently we do this, the more our energy becomes aligned, and the more powerful our actions and results become. The key is awareness. Without awareness, our intentions remain scattered or misdirected, but with awareness, we gain the ability to direct energy wisely, creating transformation in every area of life. Wayne Dyer often described intention as a force rather than just a thought. It is not about hoping vaguely, but about aligning deeply. To live with intention is to live with direction, clarity, and purpose. Energy always seeks a channel, and intention provides that channel. Whether in small daily actions or in the grand vision of our lives, the principle remains the same: energy follows intention. So the question becomes whether we are setting intentions that serve our highest self or ones that keep us trapped in limitation. The more conscious we become of our intentions, the more powerfully our energy flows, and the more our life becomes a reflection of what we truly choose to create. Every person is given a limited supply of energy each day, and how that energy is used determines the quality of life we experience. Yet in today's world, one of the greatest challenges we face is not a lack of energy, but the endless distractions that constantly demand our attention. These distractions act like leaks in a container, draining our power little by little until we find ourselves exhausted, unfocused, and disconnected from what truly matters. Dr. Wayne Dyer often spoke about the need to live deliberately and consciously, which means guarding our energy and directing it toward what serves our highest purpose. To do this, we must learn to let go of distractions that drain us, because as long as our attention is scattered, our power remains weak. Distractions come in many forms. Some are external, like technology, constant notifications, social media, or endless entertainment that consumes hours of our time. Others are internal, like self-doubt, overthinking, comparison, or replaying past regrets. Each of these distractions seems harmless in small doses, but when allowed to dominate our focus, they gradually erode our strength. Imagine carrying a bucket of water with small holes in it. No matter how much water you put in, it keeps leaking until little remains. This is what distractions do to our mental, emotional, and spiritual energy. They drain us before we can use our power to build, to grow, or to create meaning. Letting go of distractions is not about rejecting life's simple pleasures, but about recognizing the difference between what nourishes us and what depletes us. For example, spending time in nature, enjoying a good book, or sharing laughter with loved ones may look like breaks, but they actually restore energy. In contrast, endless scrolling, gossip, negativity, or overindulgence in shallow pursuits do not restore but drain, leaving us emptier than before. The key lies in awareness. When we pause to notice what leaves us feeling lighter, clearer, and more alive versus what leaves us heavy, restless, or unfulfilled, we begin to see where our power is being wasted. One of the most subtle distractions that drains power is the obsession with comparison. When our focus is constantly on what others are doing, achieving, or possessing, we lose energy that could be invested in our own growth. Comparison feeds insecurity and takes our attention away from our unique path. The truth is, no two lives are meant to be identical, and the energy we waste looking sideways is energy we could be using to step forward. By letting go of comparison, we reclaim our power to celebrate our own journey, to focus on progress rather than competition, and to live with authenticity. Another powerful distraction is the weight of the past. Many people live as though chained to their old mistakes, regrets, or painful memories. Every time they revisit those moments with guilt or resentment, they drain themselves of energy in the present. The past cannot be changed, but our attention to it can rob us of today's possibilities. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting or denying experiences. It means refusing to give them the power to drain us any longer. It means taking the lessons and releasing the pain so that our energy can be invested in creating something new. Only by letting go can we stop bleeding energy into moments that are already gone. Fear of the future is another major distraction that silently drains power. Worrying endlessly about what might happen pulls us out of the present, scattering our energy into scenarios that do not yet exist. The more we feed that fear, the more powerless we feel, because fear paralyzes action. Letting go of future-focused anxiety requires trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in the process, and trust in the fact that energy placed in the present is far more powerful than energy wasted in speculation. When we bring our focus back to the here and now, our power becomes grounded and effective instead of diluted in imagined fears. Distractions can also come in the form of people and environments. Some relationships uplift us, inspire us, and help us grow, while others drain us with negativity, criticism, or toxic patterns. While we cannot always control who we encounter, we can choose where to invest our attention. Allowing ourselves to be consumed by negative voices steals our power, but surrounding ourselves with encouragement and positivity expands it. Letting go of the need to please everyone, to argue endlessly, or to stay entangled in toxic cycles frees up energy that can be directed toward what truly matters. Sometimes letting go of distractions means setting boundaries, saying no, or walking away from what no longer aligns with our values. The modern world is particularly skilled at manufacturing distractions. Devices are designed to capture our attention, news cycles are built to stir emotions, and advertisements constantly push us to consume more. Without awareness, we can spend years chasing distractions while our real purpose waits untouched. The danger is not only wasted time, but also the slow erosion of our ability to focus. Each time we allow ourselves to be pulled into distraction, we weaken the muscle of attention, making it harder to direct energy deliberately. Letting go of these distractions requires discipline, but also clarity, knowing what we value enough to protect our focus. When we identify what is most important to us, it becomes easier to release what is not. Distractions are not always loud or obvious. Sometimes they disguise themselves as business. We fill our days with endless tasks, errands, or commitments, convincing ourselves that we are being productive, while in reality we are avoiding the deeper, more meaningful work that requires courage. This form of distraction is especially dangerous because it feels justified. Yet at the end of the day, we may feel tired but not fulfilled, busy but not purposeful. Letting go of this type of distraction means asking ourselves honestly whether what we are doing truly serves our growth, or whether it is simply consuming our energy without return. By choosing fewer but more meaningful actions, we direct our energy with precision rather than scattering it. Letting go of distractions also requires us to master our inner dialogue. Much of the power we lose is not taken by external forces, but drained by our own thoughts. Negative self-talk, endless overthinking, or dwelling on doubts can consume enormous amounts of energy. Every time we tell ourselves we are not enough, every time we replay failures, we invest energy into disempowering beliefs. Learning to quiet this noise, to replace it with encouragement and focus, is a powerful step toward reclaiming energy. It is not about ignoring reality, but about refusing to let destructive thoughts occupy the space where creativity and courage should live. Another common distraction that drains power is the pursuit of perfection. Many people waste years waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of themselves before taking action. This illusion distracts them from progress and drains their energy in endless preparation or hesitation. Letting go of perfection means embracing imperfection as part of growth. Energy directed towards small, imperfect action creates momentum, while energy drained by waiting for perfection creates stagnation. By releasing this distraction, we allow our power to flow into creation and movement rather than into fear and delay. Every time we let go of a distraction, we free up energy for what truly matters. Imagine reclaiming all the time, focus, and emotional strength lost to comparison, worry, overthinking, or meaningless consumption. That energy, when directed toward learning, creating, connecting, or serving, becomes transformative. It builds confidence, clarity, and momentum. Letting go is not about deprivation, but about liberation. It is about creating space for our best energy to flow into the life we want, rather than into distractions that keep us small. This process requires honesty and courage. It is not always easy to let go of distractions because many of them offer temporary comfort. Scrolling through social media may distract us from discomfort. Worrying about the future may give us a false sense of control. Replaying the past may allow us to avoid the vulnerability of moving forward. Yet these comforts are illusions, and the longer we hold on to them, the more power they drain. The courage to let go comes from realizing that what we gain, clarity, strength, purpose, far outweighs what we lose. When we begin to let go of distractions, we notice an immediate shift in our energy. Focus sharpens, creativity awakens, and a sense of peace replaces the restless noise. We become more present, more engaged, and more effective. Life begins to feel less like a constant struggle and more like a deliberate creation. This is because our power is no longer leaking away into endless diversions. Instead, it is gathered and directed like a river flowing with strength and purpose. The more consistently we let go, the more powerful this flow becomes, until it transforms not only our daily life, but also the larger story of who we are becoming.